Alrighty, good morning everybody. Just getting the final little pieces set up. Looks like I've got all of the appear to be showing that I'm speaking, but not showing that I am talking. Okay, that looks. Okay, that's something new. Getting some feedback from the television. All right, good morning everybody. Thank you for joining me today. It's Sunday morning in Australia and it will be a gentle yoga practice. It won't be a particularly long one today. I have a broken toe and I managed to run over it with the vacuum yesterday, so I've aggravated it and I'm like not very happy with myself. So I've woken up this morning and I'm like, I'm going to practice yoga and I'm going to try to shift this mood. So we'll begin here in a seat for a moment to allow ourselves to arrive, to close down your eyes and connect deeply with your body and your breath. Even if you're a little like me and you've got a few agitations on the mind and distractions happening, it can feel super therapeutic to just open the mouth and sigh it out every now and then, just to clear up the respiratory system as well as just tune into the nervous system and let it know that, it's okay. Sometimes all this crap that we carry around with ourselves, it does burden us. It does become overwhelming. It does erupt at inconvenient times. And so when that does occur, it's about how do we meet those inconveniences? How do we meet those eruptions? And our yoga practice is a method to train ourselves on how to be an observer and recognize those default patterns. And I'm as much speaking to myself as I'm offering it as an opportunity for education to you. We live in a world with the syndrome of perfectionism, with the syndrome of why wasn't it done yesterday when I only thought about it today? Everything needs to be instantaneous. The gratification syndrome creates this desire, and desire is a form of distraction. So just anchor yourself in the awareness of your truth, the truth that is within you, that all the power, all the wisdom, all of the knowledge is there. Our practices, our Kundalini practices, our kriya practices, our Pranayama practices, our yoga practices are all aimed at pulling aside the veil of, for want of a better word, because it can be quite confronting, ignorance, so that we may see the truth. And this is not some biblical event. This is not some sort of brainwashing concept. This is simply saying that it's the trust in ourselves that we no longer tune into. We've let that be outsourced to the environment around us whilst we ignore that inner wisdom. So with that awareness of our Sunday practice, we will take ourselves through a gentle flow, gentle movement as I continue to recover with a broken toe. So let's begin by taking a moment to bring the hands to the heart space and welcoming one another to the practice. Thank you for joining me this morning. We'll begin with an Om. So we'll take one breath together and clear the lungs and the respiratory system, and then we'll prepare for our Om. So inhale positivity through your nose and fill up the lungs, but make it a nice, smooth, even breath. And if it serves you to open your mouth and sigh out the exhale of negativity and the stickiness. And now we'll prepare for our Om. Inhale. Just anchor in the stillness cultivated by the seed sound of all creation. Thou art our mother, thou art our father, thou art our grandmother, thou art our grand uncle. They are everything. That sound is the universe. Let's take ourselves down with our hands on our knees now and start to move through the spine. So hold the knees, lift the chest, open the throat, look up, widen the collarbones, and then with the exhale breath, draw the chin in towards your chest, C-shape the spine, dome the back. Inhale, heart forward, open the chest wide towards the front of your room, and then with your exhale, chin to chest. Yes, so it's been an interesting excursion for me these past 12 hours. I have had this poor sleep, and I've had my toe reactivated by a vacuuming event. I ran over it with the vacuum, and so now I'm irritated with myself. And it's such a self-discovery and inquiry when you recognize how much your mind can dictate your mood. But I'm here to shift it with you. I'm here to move that stickiness out and away from me, cleanse the aura. Let's take one more like that. And then we'll cactus the arms and we'll move like that again. So inhale, open the throat wide and the collarbones. And then exhale, you C-shape the spine, but bring the hands into fists and draw the elbows in towards you. And then you peel open again. And then you exhale, draw it all in and round the back body. Let this become super fluid and natural to you. One more like that. Inhale, open wide. Give yourself a big, deep breath. And then with the exhale breath, draw it all in. And then place the left hand down on your knee for some pranayama work here. Take the peace fingers of your right hand to your third eye. Nadi Shodhana breath work here. So we'll take a couple of breaths on our own. So inhale through both nostrils and exhale through both nostrils. So this breath is aimed at creating freshness in the currents of the nostrils, as well as illuminating how there might be a bit of stickiness and a bit of imbalance there. So it's an alternate nostril breathing. So let's take a slow round first. So close your right nostril with your thumb and inhale through the left. And then gently close the left, and with some forcefulness as you open your right nostril, exhale with a little pump. Close the right nostril again, and then re-inhale through the left. Close the left nostril, and with that little pump, you exhale through the right. So it's a pump out the right and inhale through the left, and that will be the first round. So take that now at your pace. Let's do another 5. Now open both nostrils and take a few breaths in and out through the nose. And just recognize perhaps if one side felt a little sticky or not quite as free in its flow this morning. And now we'll balance it out by going in the opposite direction. So close the left nostril and inhale through the right. Close the right nostril and now exhale with that little pump through the left. Nice, thank you. So let's keep moving. So open the right, close the left, and move through this now. Good. Now place both hands down on your knees and just integrate and absorb that. Notice and recognize how the channels of the nose might be a little different, whether there's a bit of freedom, whether there's a little bit of congestion. If you're like me, practicing in the mornings, it's a little cooler in the air, so you can feel the texture of the air as well. We'll move through some more pranayama techniques here. So take your hands behind the back of your head. Elbows are wide. And it's an inhale to the right through your nose and an exhale through your mouth with an O shape to the left. So it's like a... Now this is quite vigorous because in this process you start to drop in to the void between the thinking body and the moving body, and you start to tap into that feeling where the sound and movement of your body and your breath are simply fluid and natural. So inhale right, exhale left. Last few. Now as you twist to your left and exhale, start again with the inhale on the left and the exhale on the right. Just lower the hands down on your knees. Just let that integrate. The shifting and the moving and the focus point on the horizon can cause a little dizziness. And that dizziness is also a representation that the mind has shifted from the stagnation into the flow, and a reminder that you're tuning into the warmth and the source of the Kundalini within you that starts to rise. So feeling the warmth in the lower limbs and the pelvic bowl. Both of those practices were aimed at cultivating a harmonization in our flow called Ida and Pingala through our Sushumna channels and our nadis. So we'll continue with that same concept as we try to harmonize within the body our experiences by taking our hands out wide into our cactus arms. And as we twist to the right, we recite the mantra Shiva. And as we twist to the left, we recite the mantra Shakti. So it's Shiva, Shakti, Shiva, Shakti, Shiva, Shakti, Shiva, Shakti. Continue to do this while I add some cues in here. You let the gaze float from side to side without particularly noticing what's in your room. The sound of the mantra becomes your metronome, and the elbows are shoulder height and the fingers have purpose. They're spread wide, and you're starting to create this navel grind as you twist from side to side. Let's continue. Shiva, Shakti, 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 Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti. Drop in and make the recitation a little louder now. Shakti Shiva, 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 last few. Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva, Shakti Shiva. Keep the arms where they are. Come back naturally to your center and let that happen with a few little rocks side to side, and then anchor through the sit bones and lift through the crown of your head. Feel into that warmth and rising energy of the divine feminine. The spark of life, Shakti, rises within. Extend the arms out long into our 60-degree angle. This one's all about shifting and cleansing our auric field of negative energy and allowing a little positivity into the body with the inhale breaths as we press the exhale and the negativity away. So from this expression of 60-degree angles, we start on 3 staggered inhales to draw the elbows towards the hips and make fists with the hands. So it's through the nose. 3 inhales and then 3 exhales out the mouth going shh, shh, shh. So we press away the negativity. Arms up wide, collarbones. We're going to do this one for a while today. I want to shift some stuff that's in my auric field. Gather in the positivity, exhale away the negativity. Cleanse your aura, cleanse the field around you, and spark the Shakti inside of you to bring positivity. Move you in the direction of more abundance, more prosperity, more creativity, more joy, more kindness, more happiness. We're halfway. Feel the warmth in your arms as you start to recognize around your heart space that the abundance of love and joy you have for your body. The renewable resource that love is. The more we give out, the more we receive. Arms up to your 60-degree angle. Hold with me. Widen the collarbones. Allow the abundance to flow within you, rising from you and outwards towards the universe, because the universe will reflect back what you desire. It's very good at reflecting back what the ego expects, which is often limiting beliefs. But when you're empowered with Shakti energy inside of you, you're able to manipulate and move that sensation of the ego away. The ego is not our friend at times. So as we stay here and we widen the collarbones and we sit proud and tall, we take it all in with deep breaths. Good work. Arms up, lift up, inhale. And around to your left with your left hand behind you, twist, and the exhale breath gives us all of that space. Come back to your center, inhale, and we go round to the left again, exhale. Tall spine, long through the crown of your head, lifted. One more like that. So good to do those navel grinds and rotations. Exhale, breath. And as we come back to center, take your right hand all the way over to a block or the earth beside you for our side bend. Left hand goes up and overhead. and then press into the block or whatever the prop is under your right hand. Create some reciprocity with the earth to allow that left side of your body to get a beautiful length along its side, from the hip crease all the way through to your fingertips. Maybe even rotate the head to peek up and underneath the left armpit. Another deep breath there. And then with the exhale breath, come back to center, but keep the arm overhead. Bend at the elbow and find the right ear. We're not tugging, pulling, or jerking the head to the left. We are simply allowing the hand to grace the ear and gently caress the head in the direction of the left, whilst the right hand stays down on block, prop, or the earth. And we just find more space along the side of the neck. Nice work. Now come back to your center and take your right arm straight out in front of you. Point it forward. Lift the left arm up and away from overhead and cross it over the elbow of the right. Now find a bind and interlace of the arms, or hold your shoulders if that's not available in our eagle arms. Lift the elbows to shoulder height, then lift a little higher and press the forearms up towards the corner of your room at the ceiling. Now broaden across the upper back and maybe even like a little bit of a C shape in the spine. That's going to give you all this space between the shoulder blades. Elbows are lifted. There's this integrity as you press the forearms forward. Now return just to center, more neutral position, and take the hands over to the left for a 11 o'clock kind of scenario, through your center and over to the right for a 1 o'clock kind of scenario. And then we release all of that, come down onto our hands on the knees, and just take a couple of little movements through the spine just to reintegrate, and maybe even just recognize, ooh, have I got a little more space on those sides that I've just worked in? Is there a little bit more vibrancy and vitality along my side, my left side, whilst the right still feels a little sticky? Well, that's the beautiful nature of the symmetry that yoga poses allow. It gets some self-inquiry, and from that self-inquiry, we then uncover the other side. So let's do that. Is that Bree giving me all that love? Thank you, my dear. Up and overhead, inhale, and then around to the right, exhale, breath. There's your twist first. Then we come back to center, inhale, and then over and around on the exhale breath to the right. I think we did one more as well. So back, inhale, and then back around on the exhale. Nice work. As we come back through our center, take the left arm up and overhead, place it on the block beside you, right arm up, and we bend over to the left. This time you're pressing down through the left. We're reaching through the right. Maybe we're peeking under the right armpit as we look to the right. Just taking a nice long steady breath there. And then keep the right arm overhead, lift and lengthen through the right arm. Keep the left hand on that block or prop, and we bend at the elbow and we find the left ear. And once again, I'm not jerking, tugging, pulling. Our necks are very sensitive and we like to look after them. It's just this gentle movement of the head to the right and getting all this length along that left side of the neck. Giving it a bit of space. And remember as well, just to remind the nervous system that this is all okay, that you're doing the work. With the breath, right? That is our anchor. That is the method to calm the nervous system and allow us to know that we're okay. So right arm goes up and overhead, and then extend it out in front of you. Cross the left arm over the top and bind all of that up. Lift it up, press it up towards that diagonal on the ceiling, and broaden across your upper back. Draw your belly button in, get all that space. One more breath, and then lower the elbows down, take them over one side, maybe keep the head through the center, Travis, don't take your head with it, and over to the other side. I've never noticed that before. I like to move my head as the arms go. Okay, unravel, uncross, hands on knees, just a little bit of movement there. So as I said earlier on, I aggravated my toes, so I'm feeling a little bit moribund and a bit sad for myself. So today's practice is about shifting energy, and I'm going to take us through a more gentle flow, more floor-based today. So from this position, let's find our way into a tabletop position. I would recommend having some blocks. If they're not blocks, they could be books or something else to help you bring the earth to you. And as always, I will be shifting between these two mats so you can see me in different angles. But it'll be all fours. Let's meet there. And from our all fours position, let's spread the fingers wide, locate the shoulders over our wrists, and locate the knees underneath the hips. Press the toenails down as best you can and spread them wide. Ground your knuckles and tone the abdominals. Now, cow spine as you tilt the tailbone up, open the throat, look up and inhale, and then cat the spine chin to chest as you draw the belly button in. Inhale the cow and exhale the cat. Inhale the cow and exhale the cat. Press through the earth with your hands. Lift the right leg behind you, extend it away from you, and then step the right foot to your right pinky finger. So hold on a second, I'll show you here. You've stepped the right foot to the right pinky finger. It's wider than under the body. It's a lunge position now. And from this position, I would recommend it's a block location somewhere underneath you to allow the chest to proud and give yourself a beautiful lunge position. So that foot's wide. I even sort of walk it out on the diagonal as well. And then the blocks can come closer to you, proud of the chest, widen the collarbones. We'll hold this for about another minute. So if you are looking for some other expressions of this pose, some people like to take the blocks further forward and you might even find yourself in a lower position here, and other people have more flexibility. They can even go all the way to the earth. It's entirely up to you. There is benefits in any position you take here because you're doing something that you wouldn't do otherwise. So let's just be okay with wherever our body is at. I'm going to stay here because that back toe is really aggravating me today. I don't know what I did with the vacuum, but I don't know when to stop. I just keep going. I want to do everything. I don't like things stopping me. And we can take a moment here in our lovely big proud chest position. We can add on if you like. So with the blocks underneath you shifted slightly to your left, so this is my left arm, you can start to twist around with the right hand looking back. So we're getting a rotation now. Where the stretch should all be happening is this front of the left hip, and with that reaching back, you get a deeper expression of the pelvis coming forward, and you just hold there for 2. And for 1. And then as I come back with the hand, I toe heel the foot to center. So see how it's just doing a little dance around to center? And take the blocks now outside of that front foot and start to walk it forward. That's going to find that length in the hamstrings of the right leg. Again, the blocks give you that ability to bring the earth to you. And you can also take this expression of like pressing the foot down on the gas and then releasing the foot off the gas, right? And we just texturize the hamstring muscles a little more. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then we can take a moment to find our expression of whatever it is, whether it's a deeper fold, whether it's some pulses with the chest towards the knee. You could even go even lower. But for me, hamstrings have always been argumentative and quite vociferous, so I'd like to just work with them in a way that feels supportive. And we'll just hold here for, let's say, 2 more breaths. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. It's been a lovely morning with you all. It will be a shorter practice today. I think I took my the wind out of myself yesterday with that longer practice. Okay, now using the blocks as support, bring the foot back and then slide the knee back and take a moment. Let's maybe even look at a child's pose position. So knees are wide and sit the hips back towards the heels. I'm going to place my blocks underneath me so that I can lower the forehead down. And with my little broken toe, I'm not able to go all the way back. But child's pose is here where I'd like to incorporate our thread the needle pose. So take your left hand completely forward and then sweep the right arm underneath you and look to the left. So I've got elevated hips, which is not uncommon. It's not uncommon. When we do our teacher trainings and we work with other yoga teachers, we see all of these beautiful alignment poses and think, oh, everyone must be like that. But no, it's not. It's okay to have elevated hips here. It's okay to pop a cushion between the butt and the heels if you need to. There's no reason why that's a problem, or even having something underneath your head. The reason I've got something out of my head is because I can't talk into the microphone very clearly when it's not, but the forehead could be on the mat here. You could have the side of the head on the mat. Coming back through your center, it's right arm forward, left arm under. And sitting back on towards your heels. Is anyone actually a medical person on here and they can tell me how long I need to put up with this toe? Was feeling good, and then all of a sudden it started to feel really sore again, so I don't know what I've done. I just don't think I realize things as you get older. Yeah. Things don't repair as quickly anymore. Let's come back to tabletop, all fours, and we'll take ourselves through the other side. So I'm just going to come around the front there so you can see me. From our tabletop, it's the left leg back and left foot forward. There she is, this silly little taped up toe. Okay, so remember with our lunge, I beg your pardon, it was a wide step, wasn't it? We wanted to go out wide. So the foot is out to the left and you've got your hands on the inside of the foot. It was interesting why I did the sequence with the neck today and the side bends is because when we do our yoga practice, we often get to experience how imbalances occur. And I've started to, over the 2.5 weeks now, walk a little differently. And in that process of walking a little differently, I've started to catch a little bit in my hip and my neck's got some tension. And I think that's just that self-inquiry from being aware of the internal universe in the body and how it works because of the time we take in our practice to do that discovery, do that work. Take a moment here, finding that lunge. And then if the twist, just remember as well, as I said, you've got all those different variations. Some people like to come right down. Maybe not. Maybe there's the twist, yeah? So it's the left hand back and we look over the left shoulder and we reach back. But it's always about pressing away, right? Gravity wants you just to dump and not be aware. But yoga, in particular, this concept of vinyasa, to place in a special way. Whilst we're not moving dynamically, we want to be placing our body in a special way, coordinated way, in a precise manner, with awareness. And then coming back to your center, and with that process, we toe heel the foot to center, and we take our blocks back towards the hips, and we let that left leg slide out and lengthen out in front of us, and we find our way into our Ardha Hanumanasana. So this is half Hanuman, Hanuman being the monkey god of the mythology and the traditions of the yoga philosophies, as well as Hinduism. And monkey god there, he's well known for his dynamic leap from lower India or the south part of India to Sri Lanka, which is a whole nother story. There's a whole lot more to that. But this is representative of a monkey leaping. It also is a tiny segue into what that whole story is about. It's about how we forget our talents, how we forget our internal wisdom. And he reminds himself now when we forget the beauty, the incredible nature of ourselves. So he needs a reminder, Hanuman, a bit forgetful. He has the monkey mind. Take another breath here. And then do your best to shift the back knee forward and sit down and come down into a cross-leg position. And so today we haven't done this pose before as a group, as people in this practice. We're going to take ourselves through half pigeon. So what I'd like you to do is to place something in front of you. Maybe it's a rolled up pillow, a blanket, or a bolster, blocks. And from our tabletop position, so come back onto your all fours, place your hands on your pillows. This is the support for the butt and the hips, okay? And there is always room for more, so please feel free to grab an extra cushion. Let's step the right foot forward. So see how the foot came forward over my cushions, and then I toe heel it over to the left. So step the right foot forward, and I toe heeled the foot over to the left. I slide my little prop city so that I come to sit down on that with an elevated hip. And now I've got this lovely big proud expression and the deepening sensation of the stretch into the hip socket, the gluteals. So for me, this proud chest is a lovely expression of how I like to practice, because folding forward, I can create a little bit of extra pressure in my knee, and I don't want to do that. I want my knee joint to feel neutral and passive. I want my ankle joint to feel neutral and passive. The shin does not have to be parallel with the front edge of your mat. It can draw the heel in towards your groin as much as you need. But remember, where is our stretch here? We want it in and around all of the chunkiness of our buttocks and our thighs and our hip. That is where our target area is, okay? So for me, half pigeon looks something like this. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to shift around so you can see me from another angle, and you can see how high I've stacked my props underneath me. So give me a moment to do that. So rolled up blankets, cushions from my tabletop position, step the right foot forward, toe heeled the foot over to the left, and then lunged my pelvis forward, and I'm sitting on that with the left leg long behind me. So I get a stretch across the front of the left thigh, but the deepening sensation is definitely in the right hip. So those of you that have been practicing at home, you're probably up to that point where you're like, okay, this is starting to drop into that deep awareness. So let's just take, say, 3 more breaths. So it's often remarked that our hips are a storehouse of karma, of ancestral awareness, DNA, stuff that's been sent down through the lines. So this can be an opportunity in this last breath just to open the cargo bay doors of that hip and just let out any of that stuff that doesn't serve you anymore. Sort of like the belly of an aircraft with all of the baggage. Who doesn't understand that concept? Baggage that we carry around, right? Making us heavy. Now from here, however you can maneuver your way back, there's no elegance here, is stepping back into our all fours and just take a moment to notice how you feel from side to side. And that can be through a cow and cat scenario. It could be from a sexy cat scenario where you say, yeah, that right hip definitely feels more fluid, more awoken by that stretch. And now let's do it all on the other side. So it's the left foot wants to step forward, and then it wants to toe heel over to the right, and then we come forward with the pelvis as it lands on our block or our props underneath us. The elevation is what makes this pose so valuable. Dumping down into the left hip, you just negate the stretch. It's powerful and it is super beneficial. We sit way too much. We're constantly sitting now. What do? Get up. We have a shower, we do all of the things, and then maybe we sit to have breakfast, and then maybe you're fortunate enough to have public transport, but you know, a lot of people look for a seat, they don't stand up. Maybe you have to drive to work, like a vast majority of Australians. Maybe that's a long journey, sitting. What do we do when we get to work? For a lot of us, we sit all day. Not necessarily all of us, but yes. Then what do? We get home, we have our break, we sit down. Let's have a spell, let's sit down. You know, it's just this thing that's happening now. shortens the space in the hip socket. That crease gets creasier. Who gets up from, say, something like yoga and goes, oh, wait a second, just let me realign, you know? Well, yeah, it's because we've shortening all of this musculature, and it's not ideal. Would only have been, what, 200 or 300 years ago, maximum, I beg your pardon, that we were very, very, very active, very active. We had to do everything. There was no automation. And rather quickly, all of that has changed. Okay, there's my waffling on. Now that's got us through that side. Now this time, what I'd like you to do is, rather than doing that awkward maneuver to get back, come back and just sort of get off your props and sit down. And that should be as elegant as you can make it. Get all of that stuff out of the way, and let's take seated tree here. So extend the right leg out, right leg long. So right leg long, please. Draw the left foot into your right upper thigh, and left knee is away from you. So this is our seated tree position. Whether you need a towel, a block, or a belt here is entirely up to you, but I'll talk you through every scenario I can. So arms are up and lifted, and then we rotate the chest to be in the direction of the big toe, and then the heart guides us towards the foot. If you can't manage the foot, what about the ankle? If you can't manage the ankle, what about the back of the knee? What I'd rather see is extension and then lengthening towards the foot than just flopping down and folding down. So feel like you can use the hands as a tool or a method to help draw the heart towards the big toe. You could curl the toe back towards your face as well here, and allow that sort of tug of, not war, it's a terrible expression in the yoga tradition, but you know, that sort of back and forth, that's a better word, isn't it? Better term. Okay, so another few breaths. Now, if you would like, this is called rock star pose, and it does take some coordination. So let's just pause for a second. You've got your right leg long, so you're on the correct leg with me, otherwise it'll all go pear-shaped. It's the left hand that wants to lift up. So left hand up, 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 up. Left hand lands behind you. You press into left hand. You start to lift the pelvis diagonally to the left, so you come up onto your left shin, and your right leg is long, and you reach your right hand behind you. So your big opening across the chest and the throat. From that sort of compression of the tree, we find extension, and it's just a lovely opening there. Hey, how about we just do all that on the other side? So left leg long, right foot in your upper left thigh, and let's do it all again on the other side. So inhale, arms up, lift up, reach up, and then the heart guides you towards the big toe, and we take those options. Now, what about a moment here just to say, this side feels different to the other? For me, it really does. I've had compression injuries on this left hip over the years. I cycled to and from my work when I lived in Melbourne every single day. That was at least, I think, about 25 kilometers per day. And I came off my bike once and landed heavily on my left hip, did nothing about it. Typical male, typical attitude, I'll be right. Put a bit of ice on it, you'll be right. Which is kind of where I would have gone with my toe. I would just be like, oh yeah, that sounded weird, but I'm going to keep going. But as you get older, you start to recognize how those attitudes are not beneficial. So if I have one piece of advice, if you're young and you hurt yourself, do something about it. But anyway, so I feel this side, I can find a deeper stretch when the leg is long as opposed to when the knee's out wide. And that, I think, has resulted from some imbalance there. And let's take ourselves through our rock star. After I tell you my life story, the right hand goes up and overhead. It lands behind you. And then you come onto the right shin. And you really want to feel the expression of the pelvis and the belly button guiding you here and lengthening you out. And sort of have your inner rock star come out. How about we open the mouth and go, here, as we sit the buttocks back down, and then we come back to center. Final couple of poses here. Lengthen the legs out for me. Take the, well, not for me, for yourself, I beg your pardon. Lengthen the legs out and just do a little paddle of the feet, a little walk, a little roll. For some people, it can feel super nice to sit just ever so slightly up here on a block, which I will do to demonstrate. Keeping the bend in the knees can feel nice as well. So if that cushion's still there, you could do that as well. Arms up, lift up, reach up, inhale, and then the heart guides you forward towards the feet, towards the ankles, towards the shins. This is, in Sanskrit, it's Paschimottanasana pose, which I've always thought is the most Japanese sounding of the poses, probably because of the way I say it and the way it's spelt. You know, Virabhadrasana sounds very subcontinent, but Paschimottanasana to me, I feel like could probably be a train station somewhere in Tokyo. And this pose is one of the key poses of the morning salutations. Ideally, we would be facing the sun here, the back facing the west, and we tune into the cardinal directions, but it's not always possible. So nonetheless, just take a moment to recognize maybe what direction you're facing and how that all feels, how that integrates with you, the spirituality of those concepts, the salutations. Surya is the sun god, gracing us every day with the radiance, the heat, the warmth, and all of the ecosystems require that incredible source of energy. As we just take a couple more moments here just to drop in and tune in. And then as you start to peel yourself away from that, coming up into an upright position, let's take the knees, bend them, and we'll bring them in towards our Sukhasana, a comfortable cross-leg variation of your seat, whatever that is for you. And we'll take a final pranayama technique just to de-escalate the nervous system, bring ourselves into the space again, and then allow ourselves to shift out into the world. And whether that means for you, you go into a Shavasana, you're very welcome to, but I prefer to guide us through something where I remain active. Otherwise, the stream often turns off. So come into your seat. This one requires mudras, and mudras are like recycling and returning the energy through our body, and they're done with the thumb and the fingers. So I'll show you the two mudras here. So we'll take the ring finger and the pinky finger to touch with the thumb, and then the peace fingers join together. Okay, so we'll take that first and we place that so that it's facing upwards as the prana mudra and the inhale breath. So we face that up, and then we switch it around so that we gather the thumb with the two middle fingers and we face that down for the apana vayu. So switch it up, inhale, and we take the thumb to the pinky and the ring. And then we switch it for the exhale and we take the thumb to the two middle fingers. Exhale. Close down your eyes and just switch the thumb between those two combinations. Breathing through the nose. And so what is this current of energy? What are we talking about here? Well, there are 5 vayus of the body. And prana vayu being the breath that's involved with the inhale. And apana vayu being the breath involved with the exhale. So it should feel grounding, and it's a letting go breath. It's all about waste removal, negativity removal, stress fatigue removal. Whereas the pranavayu is that vitality that we seek and the harmony that we are guided towards. So we'll just take a couple more here as a way to integrate, way to recognize. And then next time the hands are free to come to the knees, let's just close down our eyes. Well, for me, the personal experience of today's practice has been a very much tangible shift, a shift of the stickiness and the gooiness that I awoke with, that lingered from negativity caused by all the different elements of our everyday life, right? You know, that grittiness that lays down on our lens. But that warmth that we create as Shakti sparks inside of us polishes the lens and allows us to move with vitality and vibrancy. As you bring your hands to your heart space in Namaskar Mudra, draw your chin towards your chest. Thank yourself for showing up today. Thank yourself for practicing. Thank yourself for the ability of being able to connect like this. It's a wonderful media to be able to take our awareness beyond just the four walls of our own experience, but understand that we are so connected. And it is a lovely yogic concept. This interconnected nature of life now is so beautiful. So with that in mind, make a smile at the face, at the lips. Remind yourself how beautiful you are, how incredible you are, how amazing you are. And then thumbs to your third eye, chin more towards your chest. Loka samasta sukhi no bhavantu. That means will all beings everywhere be happy and free. And in that respect, it's also about how does your actions help others to be free. So it's a way of moving around the world in that manner. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Peace, peace, peace. That is the truth. Thank you for joining me this morning. Thank you for practicing. I really appreciate all the love, all of the viewers that have stayed around today. It's been a abundant class. I love it. Thank you so much, and appreciate it all. And I feel a big shift in my energy and my auric field. Thank you, Bree, for all the love. And who else have I got here? I have a few people online today, which has been lovely. Thank you so much. If you've got any questions, I've got a few seconds before I head out into the world. Otherwise, I will be back tomorrow morning, and again the day after that, and the day after that, and the day after that, the day after that. Bye, everybody on Instagram. See you later.